Joining us to discuss the state of football in Nigeria is the MD CEO of Nilayo Sports Management Limited and the football stakeholder, Honorable Bukola Olopade. I want to say thank you very much for joining us here on Newsday. And I would like to start it off with a statement by John Fashanu talking about former player of AFC Wimbledon and Three Lions of England, who has said that football in Nigeria is in a state of decline. Is that a true statement?
Well, good afternoon, Aaron. Good afternoon, viewers. I am always reluctant to react to people who cannot stand confidently to say they have integrity to speak on something they do not have authority to speak on. And if there's one person that does not have the authority or integrity to speak about the state of Nigerian football, it is obviously John Fashanu. So please, can we move on to something more serious and more progressive for our football and our country?
Oh, okay, probably, but some are agreeing with him that maybe the Nigerian football, because statements were being made. Of course, the Guardian actually wrote a piece that not again, speaking about the appointment of Salisu Yusuf and Issa Ladamboso. And they say it's almost like a digression rather than a progression for Nigerian football.
Okay, so let's talk about where our football was maybe 10 years, 12 years ago, and where our football is today. In as much as I understand that people are hurting and people are not happy with the way we fell out of the World Cup, it makes no sense for me for people to also forget the huge contribution that most stakeholders have brought into football in the last 8 to 10 years. When you look at the complaint many years ago of how football had almost 100% dependence on government, and you look at where we are today with the sort of relationship that has been built under the leadership of Amaju Pinnick, my friend and brother, in terms of galvanizing resources, revenue into football, either for the FA body or for the league or even for the women game. You understand that we have moved from a very obscured position to a very buoyant position in terms of the funding of football through the NFF and other bodies that should be superintending over football. So I don't want to agree that we're in a state of, I don't know what you said John Fashanu called it. But let's talk about the appointment. The question is Salisu equipped enough intellectually or qualified enough to be a Super Eagles coach? Does his record, his performance indicators show that he is a coach that has the quality to take us to where we should be? I doubt if anybody will say no to that. And when you point out the fact that he got into trouble, he was punished, he's been rehabilitated, I would quickly say to you that Maradona got into trouble, Choma Ajunwa, so many referees, athletes who got into trouble were punished. And the moment they did their time and their punishment, they were reabsorbed into the sporting family back. And some of them even went on to become world champions, Olympic champions, best referees. The system in sports is not a punitive system that damages. It's a punitive system that rehabilitates and allows people to go back to what they know how to do best. And for me, we should be thanking the NFF for actually looking at the humanitarian angle of all of this and saying, look, we have a coach in Salisu who at one time or the other had done so well and has shown with all his participation in various managerial role or coaching role he has played, that he has the wherewithal to coach the national team. I'm not here to campaign for any individual, but when you bring up names like Salisu, then I will tell you that the only thing anybody that is complaining has against him is the fact that he got into trouble. Of course, and when you look at John Fashanu himself, he's been into trouble many times. He's come back to repair his. Even me, I've been into trouble many times, and opportunities have been given to me again to channel my energy towards positivity and excel. And that's why today I'm doing what I'm doing. Nobody is perfect. We do not live in a utopian world, and nobody should complain about one mistake that has been made in the past that has been punished. We must look forward and ask the question, is he qualified enough? Is he capable of moving our Chan Eagles forward? Is he capable of ensuring that we qualify for the next Olympics? Is he capable of assisting whatever foreign coach that is going to be brought by the NFF? And the answer, as far as I'm concerned, is yes, he's more than capable. Of course, he's also been equipped with solid coaches like Finidi George, like Boboye. And these are coaches that have shown in the last few years that they are also very capable in doing the work that the country has called them to come and do. And when you talk about the young man, Ebobo Rishe, that's a young man I know all too well. Paper qualification solid, on-field qualification very solid, and he's coming to bring his analytical skills, which he has garnered in a few years of being alive, to bear. And obviously, the results will show, as I'm very positive, that we are going somewhere very good with our football after the appointments.
All right. Some would say that some have actually given a damning verdict against the executive committee and the board of the Nigerian Football Federation, saying that the failure to qualify for Qatar 2022 says it all. Some have said, we had Shehu Diko here on the Rise News yesterday, who says that judging an administration based on performances on the pitch alone is a grave injustice. But for the fans, they would say what they see on the pitch is all they can actually hold on to and take home. Talk to us about this.
So let me tell you what I find very shameful. It is the fact that most analysts, most stakeholders, majority have ignored the fact that the girl child, the women, are doing a lot also in our football. And if you are accusing the NFF board and the leadership of Amaju Pinnick of not having qualified us for Qatar, you must also give credit to what they've done with all the qualifications for our women. It is also under this leadership. Are we saying the success of a board must be based only on the Super Eagles? I mean, when Amaju came on board, the first thing Amaju said, and by the way, when Amaju started campaigning almost 8 years ago, I was on one of your sister channels in the country where I said, vote for Amaju Pinnick. This is the only man that I know in the footballing world, as it concerns Nigeria, that has been prepared for this position. All the predictions I gave them have come to pass. I said he's not a perfect man. He may not qualify us for all competitions, but he will qualify us for many competitions. He did. We were in the last World Cup. Italy was not there. Ghana was not there. I said, watch what he would do with female football. Go back and watch that clip 8-9 years ago. Look what he has done with female football. So much so that female football has started to attract the private sector contribution. And it's just the beginning, because I also know some of the things he has put in place. I said, watch what will happen to the funding of football. I said, this is a man that has been prepared. This is a man with a very huge network. This is a man that will bring the private sector to the table, and the private sector will be glad that they are coming to the table. Everything I predicted has happened. Let me tell you what happened the day we lost to Ghana, having played a draw and lost on technical grounds. I walked out of the stadium and I saw Amaju tearing up. And I put my hands around his neck. Shehu Diko was standing not quite far. And I said to him, you know what? You've done your best. Why are you tearing up? And he said to me, I know you may not like me to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. And he said to me, Buki, I'm resigning today. And I said to him, you are a soldier, you are a general. Generals do not quit when they feel that the war is almost lost. There's so many things you have brought on the table that needs you to stay and ensure they are brought to conclusion and fruition. So, and I said to him, the worry in you and I forbids you to resign. That was what I wanted to do on the day. That was how pained Amaju was on the day. And I've read a lot of things. I've seen people say a lot of things to him and to his board. And I just feel we cannot afford to make football or the administration of football a thankless job. A thankless job. Amaju, the KPIs that was given to him as president have been met. You cannot judge his KPIs based only on not qualifying for this World Cup. He qualified for the other World Cup anyway. But what about the fact that he promised to ensure that our football funding, especially as it concerns the NFF and national teams, will be 80% non-dependent on government? Hello, it's almost 90% non-dependent on government. And for people to now just sit back and say, we must destroy this man and his board because they do not qualify for the World Cup, for me, is unfortunate. Let's even go back to the capacity building going on right now in our football. Whether you like Amaju or not, he is an ambassador of this country. I saw a video of him talking at the Romania FA elections, addressing what looked like a United Nations, and I felt so proud as a Nigerian that the president of FIFA can allow our own brother, our own son, to go represent the entire world in Romania. And Amaju appeared glowingly as a president indeed. It goes beyond just playing on the field. As you said, most football watchers will want the results on the field. I get that. But what about the capacity building going on right now? I can tell you there are so many people, from referees to administrators. Aisha Falode will be one of the first to tell you that Amaju has helped her has supported her so much to grow the female football, the women football. Those are some of the things Amaju has done. But for me, as a businessman in sports, who had been in boardrooms to do presentations with Amaju, presentations that ordinary Nilayo should have done, and he bailed me out in such presentation. I can give you a typical example: the Stanbic IBTC deal. I was there doing my thing according to the books and peculiarities. But when Amaju spoke, the MD of Stanbic IBTC and his team were persuaded. Hence, we were able to sign that unique deal that goes to players, male and female, and that goes to the women journalists. Capacity building. That's a 2.5 billion naira deal that people are ignoring just because we did not qualify for the World Cup. I have seen so many times how Amaju Shehu Diko and some of his board members will pick, especially Amaju Pinnick, will pick up the phone and make deals happen for our football. And I've said to him many times, I said, you know what? You are the biggest marketing tool we have for football. I know how many times I've used your name to convince governors, commissioners, chairman sports commission, business men and women to support football. I know how many times I've spoken to top MDs of companies and how they've said, okay, we see what's going on with football, we'll support, and they'll bring their money to the table. If we do not fund football very well, then wait for more catastrophe in qualifying in any of these events that we're talking about. But we have light at the end of the tunnel. There is a strategy that is working. There is a strategy that is moving. And all of these strategies have been put in place by the leadership of Amaju Pinnick. And I will repeat again, whether you like him or hate him, he has done his job. Right. He has done everything he promised 8 years ago. Okay. He has done everything I told the world he was going to do 8 years ago. Okay. And I'm satisfied and I'm pleased with what he's done.
I want to say thank you very much for your time. I know you're a busy man. all the way in Dublin. But we'll say thank you very much for joining us.